Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Wednesday, September 25th, and we are here trying to help you navigate whatever lies ahead for you. And it really is about you. So we talk to people all the time. And, I try to say that we're kind of like your coaches. We're like your mentors / coaches. We really want to see you get where you want to go. But if you guys are listening and I know there's sort of a voyeur part of this, right? We like to hear other people's stories. That's why Mark and I love doing this. But if you really want some guidance for yourself, you've got to get in touch with us. I always worry a tiny bit that you're extrapolating what we say to one person, to every one of you. So sometimes we have advice. We say like, oh yeah, you should use the Roth. That's like 99% of the time for Mark. But sometimes that 1% might surprise you. He might say, no, don't. Or maybe you might think that we're the type of people who would say like, don't ever pay down your mortgage. And then we're like, well, wait, you've got $10 million and it's in a bank account and you can afford to pay down your mortgage if you want to. So I think that each of you has a unique set of circumstances and we'd love to hear from you. So if you've got a question or something's going on, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button, write us a note, and check the box if you would be willing to come on the air live. And check out all the great content that lives on that website. We've got another podcast. We've got a blog. We've got a radio show. We've got videos. You can even find the link to our YouTube show, Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. So check it out. Okay, today we are talking to David, who's on the line from Virginia. Hello, David.
Hello, Jill. I'm excited to get this opportunity to talk to you.
I love that. And you're from Virginia. You're not saying y'all. You're not quite going full on deep south, are you?
No, we're more Northern Virginia.
Yeah, so you don't have to. But you ever notice that there are people sometimes even from Washington, D.C. who will say things like that? Why are they doing that? They're not Southern.
Well, I mean, Virginia as a whole was we are still Southern.
I know.
I could get a little Southern if you wanted me to.
No, I want you to be whoever you are. Tell us what brings you to us today.
Well, basically, me and my husband have been together for just over 22 years. Mm-hmm. And from the moment we met, we talked about retirement. And I am the self-employed of the partnership, and he is the federal employee of the partnership.
Oh, I love a federal employee. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like there's a pension and it sounds like there's health care.
Yes. So he is actually retiring at 56 years old on December 31st of this year. And even though we've talked about it, we've planned for it, we've done what I thought was appropriate, I'm still a little nervous because I'm a real estate broker, and with the housing market and the realtor as a whole being in flux, makes me a little nervous.
Yeah. So what makes you nervous? You feel financially insecure? Like what's going on? He's going to retire in December. What will his pension benefit be?
So including his first offset. Mm-hmm. So from age 56 when he retires through age 62, the combined amount will be about $80,000.
Okay. So that's a good chunk of money, right? Yes. And will he do anything else in his post-federal employment world?
No. Okay. He's had basically one major job in his entire life. So he has served over 37 years with the government, and he's made it very clear that that's it. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Listen, we're not standing in the way of that, are we?
No, because he's always said what we have should be enough.
Okay. Let's find out. So let's start with him. With his retirement, is he in the thrift savings plan?
Yes. We have been maxing out the TSP all along. And then when he turned 50, of course, we did the catch-up contributions. And
can't wait to hear this.
I know. I'm getting ready. I'm gearing up and ready to write a big number. So how much is in the thrift savings plan?
$1,450,000.
Stop it.
Yeah, big. Plus a big fat pension.
Holy smokes. And this is all pre-tax. This is not Roth, right?
Correct. It's a traditional TSP.
Okay. Now, just sticking with hubby, anything else that's in his name? Old retirement account, Roth IRA, brokerage account, anything else like that?
No, he's very simple.
I love that about him. I know you're going to be the problem child. I'm self-employed. I have 14 million different accounts. Okay. So can you go back before the pandemic and tell me how much you were earning?
So combined or just him?
No, just you.
So just me,
Yeah.
personally, it was around 80 to 120.
Is it your view that you will be going back to making that kind of 80-ish because of the changes in the rules?
No.
What do you think you'll be making? Well, how old are you?
I'm 50.
And so how many more years do we have for you?
So, see, that's the hard part because with me, I just started my brokerage about 3 years ago. So I'm actually making less money now than I was when I was just
when you were just a plain old realtor, when working for the man. Now you're
Exactly.
now you're the man and you're not making as much.
But a large part of that is that I bought a property that I'm using as my office, which I could convert into a rental because it's residential or commercial. And then I did throw a lot of money into the business itself, and then everything went haywire.
Okay.
So I started in 2021, right before everything hit the fan.
Uh-huh.
so to
Yeah. Okay.
But I do have income coming in other areas.
So for this year, just give me a ballpark right now. For this year, 2024, how much do you think you'll earn?
So just on the real estate brokerage part of it will be about 65,000.
Okay. And then what other sources do you have?
I have 6 rental properties.
What? That's 5 more than I'm interested in. Okay. Or maybe 6 more. 6 rental properties.
Not including my office.
So the office is all part of that, like sort of the 65, because I presume you're paying rent to yourself. Is that right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, I basically use it as a write-off.
Okay.
Oh, and then I also have a annuity from a previous business I had
Yeah.
of about 13,000.
And do you have a retirement account that you've been like a SEP or a simple or a solo 401k, anything like that?
No.
So no retirement plans.
Yeah, years ago when things were simple, me and my husband decided that we would just use his TSP, and I would basically fund our lifestyle, and he would secure our retirement.
Okay. All right.
So I do have a brokerage account that has about $65,000 in it.
Okay. Well, so the rental property, I mean, you are in the business. It does make me feel a little bit like you know what you're doing. Sometimes we'll hear from people who are like, you don't know what you're doing. But that said, you know what you're doing. So how much do you think these rental properties are all worth?
All of the rental properties, including my office, currently has a value of $1,750,000 before taxes.
And what about mortgages that are attached to that?
The total mortgages of the rental properties is currently at $744,639.
I'm going to call it 750 because I like easy things. Okay. So you got $1 million of equity in these properties. What is the income coming out of the 6 rental properties right now?
So net, we're looking currently at $52,000 per year.
So just so I have the numbers right, for this year, about 65 grand for the brokerage, 50 grand for net, 52 grand from the rental properties. What's your husband making right now in terms of total income?
So his gross income is 170.
So what do you figure you guys need to live on?
So over the last 3 years, what we have actually spent per month averaged out to be about $9,600 per year without taxes or the health insurance. So just what comes out of the checking account to live our lives.
96. Did you say 9,600 a month, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to say 10 grand a month. Okay. And what's amazing to me about that, this of course now starts to make sense because I'm like, how do they get all this rental property? Like, this is crazy. So let's talk about 2025 for a second. Even if your business stinks next year, might be great. But let's say it
that's
stinks.
what I worry about.
Okay, I get you. I got you. But let's say that we marked you down. We said you're not going to make 65 next year. Let's say that you're going to make is it 40? I mean, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say that you're making 40 next year, right? And then another 50 from the rental properties, right? And then he's got his 80 from his pension, right? So now we're at 170 and you got to pay tax on it. So do you think that you're not paying more than 50 grand in taxes, but let's say you did, you're going to be able to float this 10 grand a month. That's not a problem. You're in good shape. And we just assumed the worst case scenario. I think the bigger question that I have is that, 6 rental properties is a lot. I wonder if some perform better than the others. What do you think? You're the expert, so I'm going with you on this.
There's a couple that are probably under rented because I've had them for a long time. I've basically, with all of my rentals, I've only had one turnover in the last 8 years. So I have great tenants that love the properties that want to stay.
Okay.
So I had thought about, if someone moves out, we could sell and then use that money to live off of for a couple of years after we pay taxes without touching the TSP. But me and my husband have discussed the appropriate action would be from now until he turns, at 62, the supplement part
goes
of
away.
his family goes away.
Yeah, I get that.
And then at that point, to go ahead and start selling off our rental properties to kind of make up for that. Or,
I mean, I don't know if you need to do that. It really depends. If you say to me, at that time, you'll make a different decision, but you could also start pulling some money out of the thrift savings plan and use that because we know that money has to come out, okay, at some point. And, maybe especially if, it's a funny thing. It's like, it sort of depends on like how these rental properties look on your tax return. Are you claiming this, it may be that you're like, oh yes, I'm making 50 grand, but like on our taxes it doesn't show that much because we're amortizing this. But it may be that you're better off pulling some of the money out of the thrift savings plan because we know that's going to have to come out 10 years later. And you use that and start paying the tax on that. Well, it kind of depends on what the tax rate is, but either you could sell the rental properties, you could pull money out of the thrift savings plan, but you're fine. I mean, you guys are in very good shape. I don't see a big hole in this. I mean, it's complicated and it may be that you just say like, I can't deal with these rent. Do you manage everything yourself or are you part of some sort of, do you have a management company? What do you got?
No, I manage them myself. So 3 of them are within a 5-mile radius of where I live.
Okay.
And I do have 3 that are about 2.5 hours away.
Okay.
In the Chesapeake, Virginia, Norfolk area. But my worry is because I bought them so cheaply during a time when the market was really down. I have a lot of capital gains.
Yeah.
That would, I would have to suffer.
Okay. What if you did a 1031 exchange?
We've thought about that, but unfortunately right now with the market not having a lot of
inventory
properties. Yeah.
Yeah. That might change in a few years. You never know.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now I don't mind managing them because honestly, it doesn't take much of my time. And I have great tenants. So, okay. I mean, that's when you're going to be a landlord, choosing the right people from the start will make or break your business.
Yeah, no kidding.
When it comes to being a landlord. And I try to, make sure that I have everything in play that I'm going to have. And like I said, I've only had, and the only reason I have that turnover is because it's next to a military base. So about every 2 to 3 years, they're going to get transferred out.
Okay. But, I mean, look, Mark, do you think this, I mean, the numbers, the information is good. Do you see any problem in this, Mark, or not?
There's no problem with the numbers. The numbers work. Even like you just said, pretending worst case scenario, the numbers work because of that pension and there's this rental income.
Yeah.
It's more, this is more obviously he's nervous. So it's
you're nervous.
psychological.
So, right. And it is possible that you get into the business at the wrong time. The business isn't doing exactly what you wanted to do. I get all of that. But it also appears to me that you have a ton of options because you know what? It is also possible that if you decide at some point, you're like, I open this brokerage, I have these people working for me, you might be like, I don't like that. I mean, what would happen if you just, not to say you'd blow it up tomorrow, but what if in the next few years, especially after your husband retires, maybe your husband's like, you know what, honey, I love you, but like you're spending time managing, you're not making money from managing. Like, do you really want to do this? Like, I think that that's something you ask yourself. And maybe this is not necessarily the thing you want to continue doing. Maybe you'd be happier just being like a happy-go-lucky broker, not being the person who is the brokerage firm and like banging out your money.
Yeah, that is something I've considered, and especially with the side business of writing novels. And now that's actually generating almost as much money as what I'm potentially making being a real estate broker.
Oh my God.
I haven't actually included that money because that's kind of setting aside to buy future houses.
Stop buying with the houses. Enough already. Do you guys have your estate documents in place? This is so convoluted, this plan.
Yeah, so we do have our wills done, our financial power of attorneys.
Good.
So all that good stuff. Now, my husband, his big thing is I want to die with zero. So, so he read the book, Die with Zero. He's like, I just want to live our life. I want to have the best life ever. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to die with $3 million in assets. But my fear
we have no control over that. Like tell me when he's going to die and we can make that happen.
Exactly. Well, his family tends to live very long lives. So I'm like, well, we only have $1.4 million in this TSP. That's not, we have to use that appropriately.
And you're younger. And it's like, and yeah, all well and good for him. Like, I want to die with zero. But like, what if you live till you're 90? You know what I mean? Like, that's silly.
So if we start using the TSP, I just want to make sure that we use it
wisely. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, to fund the gap, right? Because it's 80,000 from age 56 to 62. Then it goes down to like 60 something, right? Okay. Then you're going to take 20, 25 grand. That's all I'm talking about. A little bit of money out of the thrift savings plan. That's it. And if you don't have to do that way, but it just seems to me that would be a smart thing to start to get that money out because the government will force you to take it out. But I think that it would be smart for him to recognize that, of course, you want to have fun and live your life, but like you're having fun, you're living your life, you're spending 10 grand a month. And if you end up spending 12 grand a month, that's fine. But you don't just like spend for the sake of spending. You spend with the idea that like, hey, I don't know when I'm going to die. I might die when I'm 90. I might die when I'm 95. But like, you're young, man, 50 years old. Chances are your life expectancy is well into your 90s. So I always have a problem with that kind of that reasoning. And it's a little dangerous, frankly, because I don't think that he's going to go crazy. It doesn't seem like that. You're good savers, but you want to make sure that you're being smart about what the future could bring. Not that it would, but it could. And you don't want to, I don't want you to like delay your choices and having fun. I get that you want to like live your lives, but like you have a lot of equity. If you had to like get liquid fast, you could sell all your properties and pay your capital gains and, have probably $600,000-$700,000 more just sitting there in cash, and you'd be fine. An investment account, you would be fine. You guys are fine. The numbers are fine. I think there's two questions to ask yourselves. One is, you, David, is this business, and I think you'll make this judgment not this year, but the end of next year, is this something I really want to continue doing? And the second question is, maybe the rental properties, the ones that are pains in the neck, I get rid of them, I bite the bullet, I pay the taxes, and I move on. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's okay to pay taxes. You made money, that's great. But it is also, it's just, I hate that you would feel tethered to these properties because you're scared to pay taxes. Who cares? Pay the taxes. Have some fun.
You are so right on the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've actually considered I was going to give myself one more full year to see how things kind of wash out in the real estate world.
Yep.
And then start making big decisions.
Yep.
because I'm at a point where, I mean, our net worth, the way I figure it, is around 2.7 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that enough for me to not stress out?
Well, okay.
Myself?
The answer is that may not be, except that you've got this pension. And that pension is worth something. And it's worth a lot to be able to have consistent cash flow that is promised by the government, and by the way, just so we are clear, that 80,000 that your husband is going to elect from the government, that election is going to have a survivor benefit for you, right?
Yeah. So basically his main pension will be 60,000 and I will be eligible for 50% of that.
Okay.
And then full health care.
Great. Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. Is there an option to get a larger chunk for you just because you are younger?
No. Yeah, we unfortunately they only offer 25 or 50%.
All right, I'll take the 50. You're in good shape.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But I figure with the rental properties and the TSP account, plus our brokerage account, and again, I'm still receiving some money. So I mean, I have a little bit of money's coming in from all over the place.
You're in good shape. Calm down. You're freaking out because your business changed, but your real personal investments, your real life, like your long-term plans, you're in good shape. You really are. And I encourage, if you're having like pushback from the hubby about like dying with zero, I want to bring him on the air. I'm going to scare the what out of him.
Yeah, he's the type that, so basically over the last 22 years, I've handled all of our finances, and he's told me, do whatever you want as long as we have no debt.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And then all he asked me for was, when he retired, he wanted to own our primary residence with zero, like no mortgage.
Okay.
Well, that never happened. Mm-hmm. But now because he found out that with the rental properties and refinancing of properties and so he saw the value of buying rental properties and having some leverage. Mm-hmm. Mind you, even on our primary residence, we only have about 50% leverage. So overall, we're only leveraged about 50% when it comes to all of our real estate holdings.
Yeah, you're fine. He's fine and you're fine. Give yourselves a little bit of grace here. You're in good shape. You really are. So listen, give us a holler if you need anything else. And if anyone listening is kind of struggling a little bit, by the way, being a small business owner is hard. It is very hard. So if you are struggling, if you are really worried about something going on in your business, maybe you want to think about winding it down. It's okay. It is okay. If that's the case, or something else is going on, if you're thinking about starting a business and you want to give up all those juicy benefits, okay, but let's make sure we run through some of the numbers. Go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and check the box if you'd like to join us on the air live. Don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter while you're on the website. And of course, put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.